Hi there, it's Claire. If you're hearing me, that means you're listening to the free preview of one of our Patreon episodes. We switch off every week between free and Patreon exclusive episodes, so if you'd like to hear the rest of this conversation, head over to patreon.com/thisguysucked and join our honorary haters club. A list of sensitive themes and topics covered in this episode can be found in the episode description. Welcome to This Guy Sucked, the show where we prove that it's never too late to have haters and you can't libel the dead. I'm your host, Dr. Claire Aubin, and I'm a historian, writer, and most importantly, certified hater. And
I'm Amanda Silberling, an internet culture reporter, certified hater, and not a doctorate holder.
And I'm a science fiction author, not your attorney, and a doctorate holder on just a technicality. Isabel J. Kim, Esquire. Well, so technically it's a JD, it's a Juris Doctor. But if you call yourself,
cool. Wow.
If you're an attorney and you call yourself a doctor, everyone will beat you up with hammers.
Wow.
So you can't do that.
Am I the first person to be on this show whose highest degree is a Bachelor of Arts?
I'm not sure. So we've had one non-historian on the show. We did a collaboration with Appalachia, but I am not sure.
Yeah.
What degrees? No, actually, I do know. Chuck is a lawyer, so the answer is
yes. Let's go.
So he is a doctor too.
Amazing. Wow. I'm thrilled to be here with my 4-year undergraduate degree. But more importantly, for the context of why we are here, Isabel and I are the hosts of Wow If True, which is an internet culture podcast that is part of Multitude, which This Guy Sucked is also part of. And we are collaborating today because we have fun.
Cousin shows.
Cousin
Sibling shows. Cousin shows. We're in a show, a lovely family. And you know what they say about workplaces that call themselves a family? They don't respect labor laws.
I mean, I don't respect your time because I forgot what time it was. And I was like, shit, I have food in the oven. And that's on me. I'm sorry.
Well, you also missed the fact, I was telling Isabel this, I accidentally set this recording to last for 13 hours instead of 1 hour.
Yeah, so are you ready to begin our 13-hour recording?
Marathoning.
We're just going to keep going, Amanda.
Yeah, this is like one of those NPR shows where they're like, we need to record every word you say. We're going to record it in like 20 different ways. And then we're going to just have the most meticulous editing. But we don't have to do that because we're built different. We got that dog in us.
Yeah, for sure. And we're not going to subject Julia to that, to the horrible, horrible terror of NPR. Although, shout out to NPR. We love you. Thank you. Podcast wouldn't exist without you, probably. Woohoo.
Yeah, why did we begin with shitting on NPR? NPR is literally fine.
NPR is great. Actually, of all the places.
Support public radio.
Support public radio and your local podcast collective, preferably one based in Brooklyn and named Multitude. Okay, so we've got kind of a weird thing going on today, which is that we are kind of talking about history, but we're kind of not talking about history. And those of you who are listening for history, I think you'll still like it anyways. So just buckle up and listen regardless. What are we talking about today?
We are talking about This Internet Sucks, or inshitification, which is the concept of why does the internet suck more now than it does before, which is something more so that we would talk about on Wow If True, where we just kind of explain the internet and also verbally shitpost in a way that's cool and fun.
You're really selling our show. You're really selling our show to everybody.
Sell our show as well. Go, right?
Okay, yeah. So Wow If True is a podcast about internet culture, and we are here because basically for the past, 5 years, 4 or 5 years, we have been basically chronicling the weird stuff happening on the internet. And both of us kind of have backgrounds in... Amanda reports on the internet. This is her day job, and I spend too much time online, but also as part of my law degree, I took a bunch of courses on IP law in law school, including a bunch of internet policy stuff. And basically, there's been a gradual decline in the way the internet is used that kind of culminates in last couple months have not been great on the internet. Arguably, this all culminated when Elon Musk bought Twitter and everything went downhill from there. WoW True Heads know, we cannot go an episode without mentioning Elon Musk. But yeah, so we're here to talk about why this internet sucks.
Because we can libel the living, we cannot say, this guy sucked, Elon Musk, but just know we could.
I mean, we could if we were saying things specifically that he's done that sucked. Like, we could be like, and shout out to being a historian, because I could just say things and be like, well, we actually have evidence for that, so it's fine.
Mhm.
If we were literally saying a thing that he had done and we said that sucked, like, that would be okay. If we like lied about a thing that he hadn't done, then we'd be in murkier waters.
Elon Musk, it is true.
Fuck. I'm gonna make Julia bleep that out, and it will be like Elon Musk.
And Mark Zuckerberg also.
That one confirmed, though.
Honestly, there was a real fun part of like brainstorming this episode where I think me and Amanda both realized that all of the figures that we could talk about were all like alive and could throw legal dollars at us if we were mean to them.
Yeah, alive and like really, really wealthy. But also, and actually, this will get us back towards what we're supposed to be talking about. Part of this also, why it does count as us not libeling the dead, is that actually the internet is dead.
Oh.
And so that's actually full circle. I think enshittification also combines. People on who are listening to this aren't seeing me do a fun hand gesture of combining my hands, but combines with dead internet theory and enshittification go hand in little AI hand together, and they walk through the world that way. A lot of where we've gotten the information that we're going to be talking about on the show, other than our own sort of journeys through the internet and through the online world, a lot of the information will be coming from Cory Doctorow's new book, Enshittification. Obviously, he's not here. Shout out to him. But his book will come out 2 days before this episode is released. I highly recommend getting it. But he is the person who invented the term enshittification and has a book called Enshittification. And it's really cool and really sad and scary, basically.
On the other hand, great for this podcast because he had essentially collated a bunch of internet history over the last like 2 decades and a bunch of anecdotes that basically meant that we could read this book and talk about this rather than having to track down 50 million like 4chan posts.
Yeah, totally.
That is kind of my job.
Well, yeah, that is literally your job. Your job is finding stuff online and talking about
Me,
it.
handshake meme Claire, having to be on 4chan for work sometimes.
Can one of or both of you explain your understanding of enshittification to me? Because even though I read the book, there are a lot of things that I'm still kind of a baby on because a lot of these things happen, 20 to 40 years after the people I work on died.
Yeah. So the basic headline of what enshittification is like, hey, you kind of know how like when you go on the internet now, it's like everything is a million ads and like algorithmic feeds, and you go on and you're like, I can't find what my friend is posting on Instagram, but I can find what like this random influencer slash restaurant in my neighborhood is like trying to get me to eat their kale chicken Caesar wrap or something, and it just feels very like overwhelming.
Yeah.
But the way that Cory Doctorow defines enshittification is like a 4-step process of first, platforms are good to their users. This is like, I remember when Lyft first became a thing, it was like every ride you take is like $10 off, or like the first 5 rides are free. And I was like, fuck yeah, this is great. I'm gonna like download Lyft and then take 5 rides and never use it again. And that was like 10 years ago. And then second, they abuse their users to make things better for the business customers. And that could mean, in the context of something like Facebook, making the news feed have ads. So businesses pay them, and then we see the ads. And it's like things are starting to like kind of get a little like, all right, they're trying to make money. I see this. And then third is they abuse those business customers to claw back at all the value for themselves. A really funny example of this is I wrote recently about a lawsuit where a guy named Mark Zuckerberg, who is an attorney in Indiana, sued Facebook because they kept deactivating his business account because his name is Mark Zuckerberg.
Oh no.
So he was paying for ads, but then they were disabling his account and not running the ads he paid for. That's a very silly version of this, but yeah, so now suddenly, like, first they abuse the users to make things better for the business customers, then they abuse the business customers to make things better for them themselves because they've been, like, subsidizing things for so long. And then finally, this is a direct quote, they become a giant pile of shit.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, it's like the gradual extraction of value, first from the people who use it, second from the people who pay for it, until it is just at the razor's edge of usable. But by now, for example, if we take Facebook, for example, everyone is using some sort of Facebook service, regardless of whether you want to or not. And the network effects that keep everyone captured on there, very much just like let Zuckerberg keep doing his thing.
Mm-hmm.
Let Zuckerberg allegedly keep doing his alleged thing.
I don't know. He seems excited about like some of these things. Like,
oh yeah, he's having a great time.
The metaverse. He was very excited about the metaverse. Now he's very excited about sunglasses. Very excited to see what he's excited about next.
The thing is that the glasses actually are kind of cool. I don't think they should exist. But they did. Okay. I don't think they should exist. But after like years and years of pouring billions and billions of dollars and losing billions of dollars every quarter on Reality Labs, last week they finally released hardware that I'm like, all right, I see you've done some science here. I don't think it should exist, and I don't think it's good, and I think it's weird that Mark Zuckerberg is like, we're making smart glasses where you can read your texts in your glasses so that you could be closer to your friends instead of looking at your phones, where, like, that's bullshit.
Also, like, but your phone is just in your eyes now.
Yeah, your phone's
like
just in your eyes now.
You're still looking at the phone. I mean, my main problem is that they're just Ray-Bans, and people who can't see this don't know that myself and also Amanda and Isabel, but Isabel has more reasonably sized glasses. Amanda and I both have gigantic glasses, which means that like these metaverse goggle shit things are never gonna work for me until they're large and glamorous. I will not be interested.
Until they put prescriptions in them. Wait, okay, I can tie this back to what we're talking about, though, because
perfect.
Basically, the same way that Mark would like you to use his product as an interface between your vision and the rest of the world, enshittification happens because these platforms have inserted themselves as middlemen between you and the rest of the internet.
Much like lenses.
Exactly. A lot of what we're talking about today is basically due to the fact that over the last like 20, 25 years, probably since the inception of the internet becoming more commercialized, basically it has gone from a decentralized people are talking to each other to people are talking to a platform which is talking to another person. And that platform is the guy who is like, God, I would love your money. Also, I would love to show you ads. Can I show you ads and take your money? Please. Please. And that sets up the conditions for enshittification.
This is also a metaphor that may or may not work at all, and you can tell me to stop when it stops working. But I think there's almost a level where it follows a similar cycle as like substance addiction, not in the sense of like you're going to get addicted to the internet, but like in the relationship one has with whoever supplies whatever their substance is, where it's first they're really great. Like they'll be like, I'll do you a deal. I don't know from personal experience, guys, but they'll be like, I'll do you a deal or whatever. Or they're like, it's good. It's fun. You love this thing, right? How great. And then it starts to be like, oh, let's make the margins a little better for ourselves. Let's stop doing deals that are super useful because they're going to want to use it anyways. And then it gets progressively worse and worse. And the enjoyment you're getting out of this thing is progressively less, but you need it progressively more because it has become so utterly entangled with all the other parts of your life. If you're like heavily experiencing addiction, like you need this thing to survive. You're not really enjoying it anymore. But like Facebook, for example, you're like, well, this is where I buy secondhand goods. Or the thing that Dr. O talks about in enshittification is like, well, maybe my child has a really rare disease and this is the only place where there's community that I can talk to people who have this. But it's like you don't want to still be using this thing because it has this terrible effect on your life. But you kind of still have to. And now they're pulling money out of everywhere that they possibly can and trying to be like, well, we have a better version of this thing. Why don't you try this other drug? Why don't you try this harder drug? Why don't you do this other thing? And then your life sucks. And then your life is a pile of shit.
Yeah.
Did that metaphor work?
I think the drug is Love is Blind on Netflix, where At first, I was watching it because my parents had a Netflix account and then I had their password. So I was getting a lot of value. I was like, hell yeah, my parents are paying for this thing and I have their password and I don't have to pay for it and I get to watch Love is Blind. But then they made it so that you can't password share. So then my user experience was texting my mom, hey, can you give me the little code they texted you so I can log into Netflix and watch Love is Blind? And then they made it so that you can have a less expensive account, but there will be ads. And I too often used little codes to get into my parents' account that I had to make my own Netflix account with advertisements so that I can get my Love is Blind fix.
And now they're constantly raising the price and
Yeah.
being like, now there are different tiers of ads. Do you want some ads? Do you want many ads? Do you want 4K or are you fine with 1080 HP? Like HP. How many HP do you have? Are you okay with 1080?
How many hit
Yeah.
points do you want in your,
Like I think Netflix is actually a perfect example of this enshittification thing because they started as an improvement on something, right? Like they were like, let's improve things from Blockbuster that's always out of the thing that you want. We'll just send it to you. You send it back. It's great. It's really easy. What if we then make it a platform where we stream things and we don't have physical copies anymore, but you don't want physical copies anymore anyways? Why would you want it? And then it's like, what if we make things that are only specific to Netflix and you can only watch them on Netflix, so you must pay us to have them? And then what if we make it harder for you to share passwords with other people? And then if we make like, it's this thing where it's like,
Well, what's interesting is they've basically reinvented cable.
Yeah.
And like, honestly, everything that's happening with streaming is a really interesting microcosm of what happened with the internet, because the internet, as it was conceived of, was an improvement on the telephone system, and basically the way that this telephone system is in the iron grip of the many bells. And in a similar way, streaming started as an alternative to cable, and streaming is also regulated, or at least, at the time, it was regulated differently from cable, and it was very much kind of like, this is better than cable, and we don't have ads. And what's kind of interesting is we've gotten to the point where there are enough streaming services that it is becoming difficult to find things you want to watch. And also it is becoming an interesting thing that they're doing at the same time is adding ads to them. So there's no upside to actually having any of these streaming platforms anymore. And people have started pirating again.
well, yeah.
Yeah, which is kind of like the same thing that was happening before streaming existed.
Thanks for listening to this preview of a Patreon exclusive episode. To subscribe and listen to it in full, head over to patreon.com/thisguysucked.